everyone, it's Jen from Caketastic Cakes, and I'm going to show you how I made this really pretty cake. And this cake is actually super simple, and it's a perfect thing to make if your skills are not exactly the most artistic. This is like a great little cake hack. You can take this cake and make it look really cool and really impressive, and it's super easy. So I'm going to show you very quickly, what I did here. I started out with 8-inch cakes. I made some marble cake. I've got 3 layers of it, and I'm just using regular crusting buttercream icing, American buttercream, you'll sometimes see it as. When I do these cakes that are just, plain and simple cakes like this, I tend to make the buttercream icing a little bit thicker than for my crumb coating, what I fill it with and do the crumb coating with, than I will do for my final, just so it's a little more hardy and stable. But, you do you. As long as it's not squishing out to the sides, you're fine. Like I said, I'm working on my crumb coating here. I've got my 3 layers. I'm just going to go over the whole thing, square it off as best I can, and really, for anybody who's kind of a novice cake baker, or not even baker, cake decorator out there, if your cake has pretty darn sharp edges, as best as you can get, it's going to look even better. I've seen some cakes out there that are really lopsided and rounded and lumpy, and I'm sure they taste great, but they just don't look quite as sharp. So if you can get it, make your levels as your layers as level as you can, make the top as squared off as you can, it'll just look better. So really, that's the only part in this cake that requires any true skill. So I had it in the fridge. I crumb coated it. I made it all nice and even, or as even as I can. If you've seen any of my other videos, you will know that the nice smooth buttercream layer on the outside of the cake is not my strong point, but I try. I get the E for effort. All right, so I've got that. I had it in the fridge, chilled, put on my second coat of the little bit softer so it does smooth nicer. And now I brought it back out of the fridge because I don't want it to be too cold. And I'm making chocolate ganache. And I just heated up some cream. I brought it to the point where it was starting to get a good simmer going. I have my 6 ounces of, I use bittersweet chocolate because I like it a little stronger, right here, that I chopped up into bits, and I just mix and mix and mix and mix and mix until you get it nice and creamy and hopefully runny. What you're not going to see here is my ganache was actually a little too thick. It wasn't as drippy as I'd like it. So I heated up a few more tablespoons of cream and just added a little at a time until it came out to the consistency that I wanted. And then I was like, hooray, moving on with my life. You can see people in the background stealing the chocolates that I have laid out. I put this into a squeeze bottle. You don't have to. You can always just spoon it onto the edge of your cake instead of squeezing along the edge of your cake that I'm doing. All you got to do is just put a little dollop, drizzle it around the edge. Use the back of the spoon to push it over the side if it's not dripping as much as you'd like. And if you want longer drips, I was going with shorter drips here. If you want longer drips that really kind of cascade down the sides, you can either make your ganache a little thinner, a little runnier, or just, put a bigger drop over the side. I was just doing little swishes and drops. You can just add more and it'll make it run down further. Yeah, there's my kids in the background. I do all this out of my home, and my kids come home from school and they see the chocolates that I had on the counter, and they're like, ooh, chocolate, cake scraps, yay. So anyway, okay, I put the extra ganache on top of the cake there, and I'm using my spatula just to smooth it out, fill in all the gaps. And again, it doesn't matter a lot how pretty it is because it's going to get all covered up by fruit and chocolate anyway, so who cares, right? Now I am unwrapping, that's my husband helping me. We are unwrapping Hershey Kisses. I got some different kinds of chocolates. I happen to have a little silicone mold and some chocolate candy melts. So I made some different shapes. You don't have to, just go to the candy section of the store, buy some different shapes, ones that have different patterns in them. That's all you need. You don't have to have any skill with this. Buy some different kinds of berries. I've got raspberries, blackberries, strawberries, blueberries, whatever's in season. And then you just start putting it on top. When you put them on top, just put them in little groups. Like I started out with a bunch of blueberries. You see I'm going to do it here and there now. You can see kind of the grand effect. And then build off of that. Each group of blueberries gets a couple raspberries. Each group gets a couple of blackberries. I had a couple little miniature bottles of alcohol that I'm going to add later, so I'm leaving room in the center. But I've got my candy bars that I broke up into pieces, so I'm sticking those on here and there. I have a couple of the cool shaped candies that I molded. I stuck them on the side of the cake just because it looks cool, right? Like super easy. No skill needed. If you can heat up some ganache, and even if you can't heat up ganache, I'm going to tell you a secret. Walmart has chocolate or different melting chocolate drizzles already in a bottle. You just bring them home, microwave it, shake it up, and then squirt it on your cake. You don't even have to make ganache if you don't want to. You could use a store-bought cake. You could use box cake recipe. Like, this is the perfect cake for those who don't feel like they have the skill to make it last. And look at it. Yeah, you just put the berries on, put your chocolate on. I am going to have a little centerpiece in the middle there that the person was going to give me, and they hadn't yet. So, yeah, you just put it together. Put a few pieces here and there, and you got it. It's so easy. It comes out pretty. Now, I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, please like and subscribe because that helps me out as well, and we can help each other. I've got a lot of other videos out there, so take a look, as well as other beginner videos that might be helpful. And as always, thank you for watching Caketastic Cakes.